conspiracy theories are everywhere on the internet. And we know, of course, if it's on the internet, it has to be true, ladies and gentlemen, right? Yeah, crazy. We do know that they have recovered the round. Why is that important? Even if we don't know at this point what they discovered about the...
So what's some of the claims you're seeing online is, why have they not released the autopsy, or the claim that there was no autopsy at all? We already have from several independent sources, even skeptical sources, that acknowledge that the autopsy was performed.
Something broke inside this investigation. Not a clue, not a witness, but the truth itself. For weeks, what happened to Charlie Kirk felt like a riddle, written in blood and silence. But now, a single piece of forensic evidence has cracked the case wide open, and it changes everything. The story was supposed to be simple. A public figure gunned down, chaos in the aftermath, a suspect behind bars. But if that were true, you wouldn't be here. And investigators wouldn't still be fighting to keep certain details sealed away. Because behind the headlines, behind the conspiracy theories, behind the perfectly timed press releases, there's something they didn't want you to see. And it starts with a body that shouldn't have been examined, yet was. The day Charlie Kirk died, the world froze. But beneath that noise was something eerily precise, almost rehearsed. Law enforcement rushed to seal the perimeter. Forensic teams moved in, and within an hour, the internet was drowning in rumors. No autopsy, closed casket, immediate cremation. It was a storm of speculation, and it spread faster than any official statement could. But here's the thing. Even chaos leaves fingerprints, and someone, buried deep inside the coroner's network, decided to leave one clue. A single message that read simply, "It was done." That message referred to the one thing the world believed never happened: the autopsy. In the world of homicide investigation, the autopsy is the heartbeat of truth. According to internal medical examiner records, Charlie's body was transported under federal order just 47 minutes after being declared deceased.
I confirmed, obviously, because I have connections, and I confirmed that the autopsy was done. I don't want to say too much, but the autopsy yielded where the entry wound was and how the bullet killed him. It's already been determined. They found the bullet lodged in his body. They can tell you exactly where, what was severed, what killed him, where the bullet traveled from his neck down through his body.
That's unheard of. Most transfers take hours, sometimes days, but this wasn't an ordinary case. 2 plain vans arrived, no markings, no local police escorts. Witnesses said they saw federal agents covering the gurney with a white sheet that never came off again. From that moment, the official trail went dark. Or so everyone thought. The new evidence shows that within 2 hours of the shooting, an autopsy had already begun. Inside a restricted forensic lab, guarded by federal marshals. The fatal shot didn't come from where investigators first claimed. The entry wound, once believed to be from above, actually came from a lower angle, just beneath the jawline. That single detail rewrote the physics of the entire crime scene. The bullet's trajectory shattered vertebrae from C2 to C7, a near-instant kill. The spine was destroyed, the nervous system obliterated. There was no pain, no chance for survival. And here's where it gets disturbing. The bullet didn't match the weapon recovered at the scene. The caliber was off. Smaller, faster, cleaner. That means someone else fired, or someone switched the evidence after the fact. The forensic team noted unusual metallic residue near the wound. Traces of a high-density composite found in specialized ammunition used by elite law enforcement and certain military units. Not something a random lone shooter would have. So how did it end up there? No one could answer. And when they tried, the lab reports disappeared. It's hard to hide a murder, but it's easier to hide a file. When the case was turned over to the state archives, key autopsy photos, trajectory data, and DNA logs were missing, all marked as pending classification. That classification never came, and yet someone, somewhere, leaked one line of the internal memo. Projectile removed, confirmed composite material, further testing restricted by federal order. A federal order over a local homicide? That doesn't happen unless the victim or the weapon connects to something much bigger.
God rest his soul to Charlie, because I know where he is. But is there no autopsy report?
I was just gonna ask
Pat,
that,
is there like,
Vinny.
and I get it, and I get it. It's early, and I get it. But we
Not that
want
early.
to see. It's not
2
your
weeks.
very good point.
Been 2 weeks.
Show us, and the fact, and you made a great point when, and this is when we were there, when they came out with his bones were a man of steel. Don't ever try to gaslight us with that type of situation. Because if it's a 30-06 at 200 yards, I didn't want to show it to Robbie. They had a dummy at him with like it's like the skin of like a human, and it's set up. It blew the whole neck completely off.
When forensic analysts tried to replicate the residue data, the system locked them out. This wasn't just a murder anymore. It was an operation. Then came the wildest twist of all. The body's preparation for burial revealed even more clues. A private mortician, working under contract for the family, noticed something strange. The embalming process had already been completed before she received the body. That almost never happens. Embalming is usually done after full examination and release, not before independent verification. But whoever handled Charlie's remains wanted him sealed, fast. The wound was reconstructed, the neck stabilized with internal wiring, the visible side carefully restored for a public viewing. The other side, the true side of impact, was hidden beneath tailored fabric and lighting control. The original autopsy report was genuine, and someone tried to bury it, literally. So why hasn't the truth come out? Why no press conference? Why no official disclosure? Because in Utah, the state where the case unfolded, there's a legal loophole almost no one talks about. Autopsy reports, even in public homicides, can be sealed indefinitely if federal interest is declared. That one phrase turns a local record into a national secret. And guess what the new evidence shows? That clause was activated less than 12 hours after Charlie's death. So the files, gone. The photos, sealed. The truth, held hostage by bureaucracy. It's almost poetic. The paper trail of justice disappearing under the same government that swore to find the killer. Here's where things get even weirder. Just 2 blocks from the scene, investigators found a discarded police badge from a precinct that doesn't exist anymore. The Metro Division disbanded in 2019. Based on the new ballistic data, this is what really happened. The shooter positioned himself roughly 149 yards away, but at ground level, not elevated. That level of precision doesn't come from panic. It comes from training.
What are the odds that there was no autopsy performed?
It probably would be the first time in modern history in the United States of America that an autopsy wouldn't be performed on a person who got killed. You know, every single person that is killed, there is an autopsy done, no matter if you're a celebrity or not. How do I know? Because every person that had been killed when I was a cop, I go down to the morgue and you know, we had to do the whole rigmarole. And that person, due to an investigation or potential future investigation, there has to be a determination of cause of death. So they go and do a autopsy. And the only exception of an autopsy is a person dying from natural causes, which means that if you had, you were in hospice and you were 99 years old and you had cancer that was, terminal, and you were obviously dying from that, or you had dementia or something and you were doing that, and there is no foul play. And therefore, they allow the family to take you straight to the funeral home.
Within 30 seconds, a decoy sound drew attention to the opposite side of the plaza. By the time security converged, the real shooter was already gone. not running, walking, calm, deliberate. And get this, one witness reported hearing 2 sets of footsteps in sync, one heavy, one light, before the shots. Could there have been a spotter? Maybe. But that part of the report vanished too. Security cameras covered nearly every inch of the site. Yet the footage released publicly was edited, clipped to exactly 16 seconds before and after the shooting. Weeks after the new evidence leaked, a junior data analyst from the local police department vanished without notice. He'd reportedly told a coworker he'd found something weird in the backup server. Something about bullet casing signatures. His apartment was found empty except for his laptop, wiped clean. Later, an anonymous Reddit account posted, "Not a suicide. Check the second shooter's coordinates." Then the account was deleted. To this day, the username remains untraceable. And the coordinates? They point to a stretch of desert, exactly 149 yards from the original crime scene. Coincidence again? Maybe. But this case ran out of coincidences a long time ago. Here's the truth that changes everything. The autopsy confirmed 2 bullet trajectories. One entered through the jawline, the other grazed the right shoulder. Only one was publicly acknowledged. That means there were 2 shooters. One decoy, one executioner. The decoy's bullet came from a known direction, the one that fit the official story. But the second, the fatal one, it came from the shadows. And the residue from that bullet, the one that destroyed the spine, matches a prototype round tested by a federal tactical unit 2 years prior. That's not speculation. That's science. The implication: Charlie Kirk's death wasn't random. It wasn't political revenge. It was a cleanup, a silencing operation hidden inside a tragedy. And for months, they nearly got away with it. After the autopsy leak surfaced, the coroner who conducted it was reassigned. The technician who logged the photographs was placed on indefinite leave. The lab itself, renamed, restructured, reclassified.
So breaking news, you guys. Charlie Kirk was given an autopsy. In fact, and I just looked it up, it is Utah state law that if it is a murder, there must be an autopsy. And do you know what they found? They found a .30-06 bullet embedded inside of his head. Because I asked that question the other day, as gruesome as it was. If you were going to tell me it's a certain type of bullet, then you have to be able to retrieve the bullet, which means there must have been an autopsy. And there absolutely was. In fact, just the other day, they started coming out with the first bits of evidence. And this is horrific, but I'm just going to say it. It severed the artery, which is why it gushed like it did, but it severed the spinal cord.
But truth has a funny way of leaking through the cracks. You can bury a body, you can hide a file, but you can't erase science. And in this case, the science keeps whispering the same thing. There was another gun, another angle, another hand on the trigger. Amid all the data, forensics, and files, it's easy to forget the human cost. Behind the political noise was a family waiting for answers, and a mortician who had to prepare a body she knew was part of something bigger. The evidence keeps surfacing, the files keep shifting, the questions keep multiplying, and as long as one detail remains unverified, the angle of a wound, the chemical trace of a bullet, the timing of a file upload, this case stays alive. The truth is restless. It wants to be found. Maybe Charlie Kirk's death wasn't just a murder. Maybe it was a message. One written in code, bureaucracy, and fear. A warning that even in the age of total transparency, truth still bleeds in the shadows. So if this new evidence changes everything, Maybe it's not the end of the story. Maybe it's the beginning of a bigger one. What do you think happened that day? Was it a cover-up, a conspiracy, or something even darker? Sometimes the truth doesn't hide in the evidence. It hides in who controls it. The autopsy happened. The truth still waits.